Are we entering an era of YouTuber made horror films? Hey everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with my blind reaction to Shelby Oaks, a horror film by YouTube movie reviewer Chris Stuckman. So for those who don't know Chris Stuckman, he, like I said, is a movie critic here on YouTube. And I've been watching him for many, many years. There's a lot of reviews I really just love his views on. And some that, while I don't necessarily fully agree, I can understand his point of view. Probably biased, but I think my favorite video from him is his 12 Angry Men review, because he pretty much has exactly the same opinion on the movie as me, that it's absolutely perfect. And personally, it's my favorite movie of all time. So, yeah, a little biased there, I feel, but still. But this is not the first time a YouTuber has made a horror movie. Just recently, I think 2 years ago now, the channel, the people from the channel Raka Raka made a movie, a horror film called, oh my god, my mind is blanking. Talk to Me. Talk to Me. We reacted to it on the channel. I should remember this. But, yeah, the horror movie Talk to Me was made by YouTubers. And on top of that, we have other ones coming in the near future, such as Iron Lung, made by Markiplier, which is an adaptation of the video game of the same name. But yeah, this one is going to be really interesting because Chris Stuckman's been trying to, make his directorial dreams come true for a long time. This has kind of been a big deal for him. And the fact that he's, at least starting out with a horror film is also just really fun. Now, I don't know anything about this. I haven't seen any trailers. I've purposely avoided that stuff because I didn't want to be spoiled on the plot or really anything. I know nothing about this. The title Shelby Oaks, it honestly sounds like a retirement home or something, if I'm being honest, which maybe it is. I don't know. It also could be some kind of community. Like a living community. Not living community usually implies basically similar to you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Not necessarily a gated community, but could be a gated community. You get the idea. The point is, that's really all I have to go off of here. I don't know who's in this. I don't know, who else, Chris Stuckman, worked with in regards to this. I don't know. And I haven't even heard what people think of this movie. The movie, I believe, was released in, a festival or two. Prior to a wider release. But it's now out. And I've been waiting for this since, last year, I think. I think it was first announced last year. And I'm just really excited for this. Even without knowing what it's about, I want to see Chris Stuckman's vision here. As someone, again, who has watched his channel for years and years, I want to see, what he's come up with. And hopefully we get more of this stuff. Hopefully we get more YouTubers out there working on their own actual films, legitimately wide release films and all. I think that there's so much that could come from that, and it would be just a cool new avenue to explore with cinema. So yeah, this is a donation reward for Venom, by the way. So thank you to Venom for donating. And at this point, I guess we're just going to see what happens and hope for the best. Because the thing is, it's his directorial debut and everything. It's it might not be the best and whatnot, which that's fine. But I'm going to give it a completely fair shake. I'm going to like judge it purely on my experience with it, and I'm going to hope for the best. So, yeah, let's get into this and see what we have in store. Hold up just a sec. Before you click that link down in the description below to get to today's video, I want to remind you of all the awesome content we have both on this channel and the Princess of Gaming channel. Let's check it out. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, I was thinking about the line. There's the one line that Miles, I think his name was, said. The killer. The killer and rapist. There was the line that he said right before he killed himself in front of Mia. She finally let me go. And I've been thinking about that. I've been thinking about that like pretty much since that happened in the movie, so most of the film. And then once we find out the truth about him, about like the demonic cult shit with Tyrion and everything, and his mother Norma, I'm trying to think like who would she be? The only she in this matter could be Norma. And we saw the demonic shit that Norma was doing. So and the fact that Miles killed himself, I'm starting to think that Miles was forced to do all of this. I'm starting to think that Norma was forcing Miles, maybe through threats or something involving Tyrion. And she had him kill the other 3 paranoids, but take Riley. But also, we know the fact that Tyrion had been watching them since they were kids. And we saw by the end that it wasn't just Riley, it was Mia as well. Because Tyrion clearly had plans for Mia, probably involving the Cambion, the child. But yeah. So, it seems like he killed himself probably out of regret for what he had done, and more than likely been forced to do. And he brought the tape to Mia, hoping that she would be able to put an end to this, which obviously she wasn't. She kind of fell into Tyrion's trap, almost. But yeah, this was a very fascinating film, with like the first 15 minutes or so being told through like this documentary about the events and everything. And then it goes into the actual film. And you're like kind of wondering throughout it, at least I was, is this actually going to be supernatural, or is it going to be kind of like a slasher thing that's just like mistaken to be supernatural? It was kind of both, because there was obviously demonic influence and obviously the factors with the incubus Tyrion, but at the same time, like the actual murders and everything that we saw, the rape of Riley, like presumably repeatedly, because she had been gone for like what, over 15 years or something, and there's only one baby there, one Cambion, so I assume that it just didn't take for whatever reason until like close to the end there. She had the blood on her dress like down by her crotch. So I'm wondering if maybe there were like miscarriages. Like that's what I mean by it didn't take. I'm wondering if that was kind of the situation, and it's only the most recent one that was actually successful. Now, the idea of like demons siring a Cambion with a human in order to like kind of utilize that power, it's like because Cambions have a different level of power than just regular demons due to the humanity in them as well. I assume that there would be like some kind of motivation in that. I don't know like all the lore surrounding all of that kind of stuff, so don't mind me if like certain aspects of it I just don't understand or don't know. But yeah, it's really fascinating because like I said in the reaction, it's like you don't see movies about incubi often, if at all. I can't think of another one off the top of my head, and succubi movies are very like minor as well. You don't see those often. There are some for sure, but it's just like they're very rare. And this movie, like, I could see some people saying it's very slow. It's very monotonous. Not much happens for a lot of it. I could see a lot of people saying that. I didn't mind that. And I've talked before how I don't mind slower horror movies as long as not only is the payoff really worth it, but also is the slow burn, like, intimidating? Does it have this air of, like, fear to it? And I think it did here. Kind of like in the same vein as, like, Blair Witch Project. It was a good slow burn, good build that set everything up really well. And I'm going to say this right off the bat. I don't know how unpopular of opinion this might be. I think the way that the demon twist in this was handled was a lot better than Hereditary. I'm sure that's a very unpopular opinion because people gush over Hereditary like it's, I don't know, the second coming of Jesus or something. And I just found Hereditary just kind of eh. It's like it had good aspects to it, but it's like eh. But it's like the way the demon stuff was handled in this was much better, and just it didn't feel like a random ass pull like it did in that. That's just my view, at least. I think that Hereditary is severely overrated. The ending of this was like pretty dark, though. It's like considering everything, like 15 plus years of trying to find her sister, and she finally finds her, rescues her, gets her out, but then she ends up dying anyway, being torn apart by these hounds after accidentally being pushed out the window. It's like, yeah, I would probably lose my fucking mind at that point. I would probably just. I would probably, like, go completely insane, if not probably try to kill myself. After all of that obsession, after all of that, like, pain and misery, and I especially there'd be a certain level of guilt to it as well. And then the fact that it's like you also have this Cambion baby. It's like, which she knew it was Cambion. She heard what Norma was saying, right? So it's just like I just don't think things would work out too well there. Of course, if Cambion has, or if Cambion, if Teriel, now the name is escaping me, Tarian. If Tarian has plans for her involving this Cambion, would he even let her die? I don't know how that all works. I don't know. But a lot of curiosities involved in this. And it doesn't give you every single answer. Which sometimes can be annoying and sometimes can work. It depends on the context. I think in this situation it works. I think it like makes sense for this kind of thing. There's the mystery aspect of the film, as well as just the overall like vibe it gives. Like you're not supposed to know everything. I will say all the actors in this did a great job, especially Mia's actress. She was phenomenal. She really like nailed the emotion of her character. Um, for the methods of how we saw her in this film until again pretty much the end. Riley's actress did a great job for what we were seeing. Like she expressed a lot of like subtle emotions as well. Keith David was a very welcome surprise. I always really loved Keith David in pretty much anything. And so it's like that was very welcomed. He had a very small role, which honestly, that's not that surprising considering he's probably a pretty expensive actor to get for your film, and this is Chris Stuckman's first movie, so. But yeah, overall, like I really did enjoy this film. I thought it. I don't know if I'd call it like 5 star necessarily. It's something I definitely would have to think over. But I did really enjoy it. I think there's again a lot of the mystery elements worked really well with the horror. I like how the demonic stuff was integrated in and the pacing of its integration. All the little things that were like subtly in the background of certain shots, whether on the tapes or just in regular shots, just stuff like that was pretty fun. Um, it's definitely a pretty simple horror film, like a pretty simple demonic horror film specifically. Like it doesn't do anything that rewrites the formula. It doesn't do anything that really shakes things up. No, and I don't think it's meant to. Chris, like I can't speak for him exactly, but my guess is that he probably wanted to just start pretty simple. Um, Wanting to like kind of get things going with his career in this by making his debut feature be something, that people can understand. Something simple and easy and that people have seen before, but doing it in a way that's uniquely Chris Stuckman. Because I don't know exactly how to explain what I mean by this, but if you've watched Chris Stuckman's videos, if you've watched his reviews, this movie feels like it was made by Chris Stuckman. I can't explain it any better than that, but it really does feel like Chris made this. And I guess that's a positive, like that's a compliment because it shows that he stamped his identity onto this film. So, yeah, can't complain about that. Um I just liked it. Sometimes it just comes down to that. Sometimes you don't have to have like a huge, wonderfully thought out analysis. Sometimes you just like a movie. And I just liked this. I thought it was well made, well acted, well shot. I enjoyed it. But tell me in the comments below, what did you think of Shelby Oaks? Let me know, and thank you so much, as always, for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.